Well, good evening, my fellow common people. This is Common Guy Reviews and I am your lovely host, Pepsi. This lack of Friday video and late night one is of course a sign that we have another theater movie night in our hands. This time I hop into the action and go and check this movie. Keeper is a 2025 American surrealist horror film written by Nick Lebart and directed by Osgood Perkins. Premise is that Liz and Malcolm head to the lonely cabin for their anniversary weekend, like a healthy couple should. But suddenly Malcolm returns to the city and left Liz alone. An evil entity starts to run amok. Why is Liz left alone? What evil entity? What secrets does this movie hold? Since this is a surrealist horror film, I expected drool from either side of my mouth and not understand a thing, but goddamn I will try. Now I will head to the theaters, and after this modest transition I see you after I returned. So, here we go. Alrighty then, we are back. Theater didn't have much people in it. Late Friday night, they might be busy or something, but we were there, and oh boy, it was a mediocre experience. I don't really know if I have standarded myself into extra surrealistic films, but this one did not check all my surrealist horror boxes. It had somewhat coherent story, easily followed narrative, and not too much to be weirded out about. So let's start to list things. Why is Liz left alone? Well, Malcolm is a doctor, so he gets a call that one of his patients are not well, so he must do a quick trip to the city to check them and come back. Somehow it is acted like the biggest bummer there is. Even if Liz and Malcolm have dated for a year now, you would think that they were somewhat used to what Dr. Biz is all about, but no. Evil entity in the house was one of the evil entities I've ever seen. Nothing super special really. But I love the design of that. Or those entities. There were multiple. Their look was somewhat appealing in an unappealing way, if you catch my drift. Reminded me of some Silent Hill type monsters. Also, movie had a nice vibes in the woods. Running water near the cabin was just a nice and cozy. If you ignore the weird sounds coming around the house and haunting, but nah, I don't think it won't decrease the property value too much. I bet. I liked how Liz acted all terrified and freaked out. When Malcolm's cousin Darren and his, I think she was a prostitute or something, arrived, they started the cycle of something is not right. And when Liz eats some funky cake a bit too much, she starts hallucinating stuff all around. And it didn't really stop at any time, so she played the role of being distressed well. Movie had some meh jump scares sprinkled here and there. Nothing crazy, but at the amount that you notice it. Movie also had this weird habit of announcing when jumpscare was coming by fading out the background ambient noise. And they even did some bait and switches by not doing a jumpscare after the fade out. When I first saw this movie's trailer, it had comments by Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima, which was funny, because I don't know. I just don't see it. I didn't grasp the genius of this horror flick. This was like something I fish out of some streaming service while being desperate to watch something and be like, well, that wasn't too bad, which I stand by. It wasn't too bad. It was a horror movie, an okay horror movie. It had somewhat interesting plot twist. It had nice monster design. It had believable and good acting, but it wasn't a surrealistic horror piece I thought I was going to see. So, would I recommend this movie? Well, I'd say that if you haven't ever watched anything surrealistic before and this would be your first touch for it, maybe. But if you have watched stuff from Phil Tippett or have seen Eraserhead from David Lynch, this is like your first surrealistic horror film with some twists and obscure turns, but nothing to hold a mantle for surrealism. Honestly, I'd say that keep your money and wait for this movie to come into streaming services and then watch it. That's all, and I really don't have anything else to say about this. This was my late night review about Keeper, brought to you by Common Guy Reviews and speaking to you, your lovely host Pepsi. And I'll see you in the next review. Goodbye.